Hello, bonjour. My name is Bonno. Presentation is Can Transitions Theory Account for the Dark Sides of Social Innovation? An Analysis of Directionality in Renewable Energy Prosumerism. It's a multi-authored paper. Myself, I'm from Université Libre in Bruxelles, together with colleagues from Dutch Research Institute for Transitions in Rotterdam, the Netherlands. This is me. Just to say in advance, I will continue in English. C'est bien possible de poser vos questions ou commentaires en français. It's a paper that develops in between two projects that are a bit related. One closed off, one about to start. Prosumerism and energy citizenship obviously are quite closely related topics, so this is in a way an in-between reflection that I'm presenting here. So what is it? Prosumers, they are active energy users who both consume but also produce, and that is important, energy from renewable sources. What kind of innovation is that then? Maybe at first sight technological and infrastructural, but it's also involving various innovations on the level of social relations and institutions, which makes it relevant for social innovation scholarship. Typical question that you have in these Horizon 2020 projects is how can we, given sustainability potentials and given certain empowerment potentials, certain social transformation potentials, typical questions is this: how can we boost this? How can we enable the mainstreaming of this at first sight and probably just simply beneficial social innovation, considering certain normative principles of citizen participation, inclusiveness and transparency, apart from the energy efficiency and sustainability that of course mattered in the first place. These dark sides of renewable energy prosumerism, they are not always so prominent in these kind of projects, which is a bit of a shame, because it forms part of seriously considering the possibilities for transformation in society. Well, there's a range of points that have been made about this, a range of questions that have been asked. I'm going to do this very fast because the themes are relatively well known. Important question, I think, is the last one. Is this really a social innovation? Is that a good framing of it, or is this in the end mostly a matter of business model innovation, turning towards business models with certain socially innovative, socially transformative implications? But isn't this really what is going on here? And is this social innovation that we're seeing, is it not rather a social byproduct of certain quasi-autonomous developments of technological innovation? Is it actually a good idea to consider it simply as a social innovation? Isn't the diagram on the right hand, isn't that a bit the technological, financial reality of renewable energy, prosumerism, where we can consider certain social innovation aspects, but which are not at the heart of what is going on. These are, of course, quite familiar dark sides that you've seen there. There's also a discourse on the dark sides of social innovation more generally. So there's a clear resonance between the previous slide and the themes I'll present here. It's questions like these. There's also these questions indeed about to what extent technological innovation has this aspect of working towards certain social innovation add-ons or instruments, working towards measures towards acceptability, that in the end are tend to be rather system confirming. The social innovation tends to be a bit secondary and a bit shallow. Whether it's just patches for systemic failures, it's a bit the well-known Marxist critique on utopianism. Those specific narratives of empowerment that are surrounding the prosumerism phenomenon, they are being questioned in social innovation scholarship more broadly. And also this, isn't this also a field of innovation where you see particularly strongly these ideological tendencies towards pro-innovation bias, an asymmetrical analysis of innovations? Isn't this showing these typical preoccupations that innovation scholars have with the radical and the scaled-up novelty, whilst forgetting a bit about certain other less familiar and maybe less pleasant shades of innovation? Good, what we do. My colleagues at Drift are, of course, specialists in work on sustainability transitions. So the one exercise to do is the research on socio-technical transitions or sustainability transitions. Can this help to articulate these dark sides of renewable energy, prosumerism, and of social innovation more generally? Maybe it's a familiar diagram, the multi-level perspective, maybe not. Idea is it takes energy prosumerism as an example of radical niche innovation, which helps to explain how these niches can become mainstream. Well, that goes a bit like this. It is a matter of considering the various arrows, the various dynamics that over time in combination through some kind of co-evolutionary process could add up to major energy regime, major energy system shifts. Well, this is a weird elaboration of that diagram that we did in the underlying study for the Bruxelles project. Basic idea is, well, transitions theory. It's very much a theory of transformative innovation. It's very innovation oriented. It's very oriented. How can we scale this up? How can we surmount barriers? How can we mainstream certain innovations? But there's a but. Are we talking about transitions that just happen? Also in this case, or are we talking about transitions that are steered in a certain direction? Transitions theory covers both, and they're not so easily to distinguish from each other, and it tends to be hanging in the middle between emergent and purposive. There's also these obvious questions, ethically driven, and there's a certain scholarship that has developed about the directionality of transitions, so transitions where to and for what, which is a matter of disclosing the so-called carrefour des possibles as announced in the conference program, definitely including the dark sides and not only the positive and sustainable pathways. Well, there's particular ways in which this can be done to unpack these different possibilities that transitions have in themselves, the different evolutionary pathways that they may take. That is a bit what we try to express in that clumsy diagram, which is a certain elaboration of that other, that transitions multi-level diagram. So these are some conclusions. If you analyze that in more detail, and we will, general feeling is that transitions theory can quite well articulate social innovation dark sides. How is that? Well, it's an evolutionary approach which is useful, which allows to articulate dark sides as well. That idea of a socio-technical regime is in principle a tool that can be used for critical theoretical diagnosis. But that can only be done if putting a greater focus on these socio-technical regimes, what they consist of, the institutional contradictions and the ideological structures that they contain, that they are made of. And a more general idea is that transitions theory should be deployed and also developed more through things, through concepts like directionality as a theory of stability and not only of innovation. So, well, this is some references that we used. This is again Prometheus, as you of course recognized on the title slide. Thank you, merci beaucoup.